The Mexican Minister of Defense's impressive driving and ability to protect Max landed him a 2-year extension in early 2022. A few run-ins with Max later and tension in Team Red Bull at an all-time high has brought about uncertainties about Sergio Perez's future with the Milton Keynes-based team. To make things worse, Sky F1 pundits have identified who should replace the 32-year-old. Who is the driver, and why is now the right time for Red Bull to poach him? Stay tuned to find out. With Perez in the ranks, Red Bull has captured 3 of the 4 world titles in 2021 and 2022. Not a bad score, but in the second half of this year's season, criticism of the Mexican increased somewhat. The first few months of 2022 saw Verstappen face a fair amount of competition, but as the year progressed, particularly after the summer break, the gap between them continued to widen. Karen Chandhok, a former Formula 1 driver, is of the opinion that Red Bull would be better off in the long run if they signed Lando Norris, who currently drives for McLaren. The Briton has shown himself to be one of the sport's most exciting young prospects during the course of his 4 years in the sport, and he has the ability to one day compete for championships. Next season, both Sergio Perez, who will serve as Red Bull's driver number 2, and Daniel Ricciardo, who will serve as the team's reserve driver, will be in their 30s. Chandhok made the assertion that the Milton Keynes-based team would be in an advantageous position in the future if they had both Lando Norris and Max Verstappen as their 2 drivers. The Indian stated the following during the 2022 season review show on Sky Sports F1. "I think they should be going hard to try and buy Lando Norris." In response to the comments made by Chandhok, Sky Sports F1 commentator David Croft instantly agreed. He said, "Exactly, absolutely spot on." Presenter Natalie Pinkman, on the other hand, advised against it and cited Red Bull's previous encounters with Alex Albon and Pierre Gasly as justification. Natalie explained, "But the problem in doing that, as we've seen with Gasly and Albon, it's like lambs to the slaughter. It's very difficult to be Max Verstappen's teammate. If you bring a rookie in too soon, it could crush their careers." Back in the first half of 2018, when Norris was leading Mercedes' George Russell in the Formula 2 title race, Red Bull tried to sign Norris to replace Brendan Hartley at Toro Rosso. Hartley was coming off the back of a massive practice crash in Spain and had only scored 1 point across the team's 6 races with Honda, while Pierre Gasly had scored big points finishes in Bahrain and Monaco. Norris was a McLaren junior at the time. McLaren had agreements in place to keep Fernando Alonso and Stoffel Van Dorn as drivers for the team, but the team was in discussions to replace Van Dorn with either Esteban Ocon or Carlos Sainz. When Alonso made the decision in the early summer of 2018 to take a break from Formula 1, it gave McLaren the opportunity to promote Norris and prevented other teams from poaching him. If Alonso had made a different decision, and if McLaren had signed Sainz or Ocon to replace Van Dorn regardless, Norris would have become a free agent. Had he signed for Toro Rosso, he would likely have become Verstappen's Red Bull teammate in mid-2019, and either thrived and still be there, or now be at Williams licking his wounds. With the benefit of hindsight, we can say that Norris would have been more successful at Red Bull than Gasly and Albon were. Norris gets on very well with Verstappen. They have been sim racing teammates, and he's similarly at ease with the sort of oversteer balance Verstappen thrives on. In an interview, Norris explained his preferred mode of driving. He said, "I hate understeering cars. I've always been a driver who wants an agile car, and then lives with the consequence that the car just slides more in the rear. You have more control that way. An oversteering car does what I want it to do. If I want to steer a little more, it rotates. I can better control how I position the car for the turn. With the understeer, it's different. I feel like the car is controlling me. When you're in the middle of a corner and understeer, you have to wait a long time to accelerate. That feels like an eternity, even if only half a tenth is lost." In addition, considering the speed with which Lando Norris has improved over the course of the past 4 seasons, demonstrates that he is, on average, faster than Ricciardo. In comparison to the Perth-born Aussie who scored just 37 points overall, Lando Norris scored 122, proving just why he's so rated, and that they are anything but bluffing when they say that the young Grand Prix driver is meant for big things. Norris has the potential to be the competitive teammate that Red Bull requires alongside Max Verstappen. When you take into account Norris's preference for an oversteer vehicle balance, it's practically a given that he would have fared better alongside Max Verstappen this season than Sergio Perez has. Despite the fact that Perez has won 2 races and secured the pole position, Norris has demonstrated time and again that he is an exceptionally versatile driver, perhaps even flattering a sequence of challenging McLaren cars. Talking about McLaren's 2022 car, he said, "I don't feel like the car is doing what I want it to do. I've had to accept quite a bit. It's hard to describe. How I steer the car, how I brake. It's not just like you hit the brakes and then you turn in. It's about timing, how fast or slow you do it. Slow turns, medium fast turns, it changes all the time. I actually want to take a lot of momentum into the turn, so getting off the brakes and attacking the entrance to the corner. I'm moving further away from that style this year. This car is not made for driving my style. I had to adjust to it. I did that, but it still doesn't feel natural to me." Norris himself has admitted that the Woking-based team's performance during the 2022 season has been quite lackluster, which is particularly disappointing. Throughout the course of the season, he was only able to earn one spot on the podium, leaving him with little to no chance of contending for race victories, let alone the title of champion. In an interview with Sky Sports F1, Norris looked at the year and made it clear that he was dissatisfied with the way the team performed during the year. He emphasised that he was not content with how the team performed. He said, "From where we were in race 1 in Bahrain, I think we've done a good job. We recovered well. If I think before the season, did we achieve in 2022 what we should have done as McLaren? Honestly, no. If we want to do well and we want to be champions at some point and we want to win races, we can't be satisfied with where we've been this season." Despite this, Lando Norris continues to have confidence in McLaren and there's no indication that he'll move to Red Bull soon. Lando Norris disclosed towards the conclusion of the 2022 Formula 1 season that despite the fact that he was not overly pleased with how the year turned out for the team, he continues to have faith in the members of the McLaren organisation. At the conclusion of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, the McLaren driver was asked about his future with the team. He responded, "It's just faith, it's just honesty. That's the main thing I need. I'm not a guy who likes BS or likes people trying to make me happy. I like people just being honest. I have faith in McLaren, I have faith in the guys I work with, the whole team." Since then, the Woking-based team has seen a huge shake-up. Team principal Andreas Seidel jumped ship to take the position of CEO at Alfa Romeo. It'll be interesting to see how much his faith has shaken since the move, and what it would take for Red Bull to tempt him to join them. If I were Horner, I'd be dropping Lando a message or two, or even getting his mate Ricciardo to recruit him into the team. Lando's new contract with McLaren will see him there for 4 more years, and things move so quickly nowadays, we could see him at Red Bull sooner rather than later. And a Verstappen-Norris partnership at Red Bull would create an undoubted super team that would dominate the F1 grid. Do you agree?